just like a hello or something, just to make sure the chat is working. So if you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Say hi.
What we need now, Joel, is that bit of background music. And
Yeah.
hi, Michael.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Hi, Jade. Thank you very much. Morning, Andrea. Thank you. But yeah, I hope you've all got your fans at your desk, or you're in nice air-conned rooms. And I have got a cornetto at the ready as soon as this webinar finishes. But yeah, no, absolutely. Hi, Steve. You got another one. Here's Tom. There's a couple in the lobby, I believe. Go, fantastic. Hi all again, thank you for joining. We're just going to give this another minute just to allow people to join. We've had quite a few registrations, but meetings can go over. It does happen. But if you've just joined the chat again, if you could just put in hi or hello, just to make sure your chat is working for you, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hi, Joanne.
I can decide, Lloyd, whether to have my fan on a single position or the oscillating position. So at the moment, I've gone for the moving one. So every couple of seconds, I'm going to blast the cold air, and then sauna, blast the cold air, sauna. It's pretty hot.
Well, I've actually got one directly in front of me and one behind me, so I'm having both sides kind of cooled. So yeah, it's quite pleasant at the minute. But
Okay, you made a bad decision, Lloyd, not going into the office today and feeling the power of that aircon.
Absolutely,
that decision now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, it's 3 minutes past now. We are recording this session, so we can kick it off and get moving with it. Appreciate you're all busy, but thank you very much for taking the time to join in this session. Can I just confirm you can all hear me, which I believe you can because you've been putting in the chat, but more importantly, you can see the slides. Can you just give a thumbs up or whatever to make sure you can see all the slides? Absolutely great. Thank you very much. Joel raised his hand. Okay, and again, just to make you aware that this session will be recorded. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about build a PPM system that delivers results for local authorities, and we're going to learn about how local authorities can move beyond those spreadsheets and that data to make those data-led decisions. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the first slide now, which is just the agenda. So we will do some welcomes and some introductions, talk about the challenges that facing local authorities at the moment, common PPM pitfalls, our recommended approach, why PPM systems fail, what good looks like, PPM selection, so those key factors, case studies. We'll talk you a little bit about what we've done with Neath and Port Talbot Council. Then we'll show you a little bit about what iCoPlan and iCoHelp could do to potentially help you. And then there'll be some Q&As. But I want to add at this point that this session is interactive. If you do have any questions whatsoever, please just raise your hand and come off mute if you're brave enough. Or if you feel more comfortable, please just put it in the chat. It's no problem at all. Okay. Okay, so introductions. My name is Lloyd Davis. I am the Business Development Manager at iCoTech Services, and I'll be your co-host for today. Over to you, Joel.
That was a quick introduction, mate. You caught me off guard there. But yeah, my name is Joel Markham. I am the CEO and founder of iCoTech Services. Looking forward to showing you kind of some insights today from across the world of PPM, and hopefully keep you entertained on this warm day. And hopefully you see some value from today. And as Lloyd said, we promote collaborative sessions. So any questions you've got, please do come off mute, ask the question, or put them in the chat. Lovely to meet you all. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Joel. Okay, so a little bit about iCoTech Services. So we are one of 15 global work management Microsoft partners. Okay, through our accelerators, we specialize in delivering project portfolio management, enterprise risk management, and strategic planning solutions. Okay, we use a consultative approach in all our engagements, and we consider ourselves more of a partner than your general IT supplier. Okay, we believe in not one size fits all, instead a specific configurable solution to meet your organization's needs and requirements. We help organizations fully set up and utilize the technology, which is probably available to you right now. You're just not utilizing it. And everything we do is within the Microsoft Power Platform. Okay, and a key point, we help public sector organizations regain control and confidence in decision making by connecting strategy, delivery, and risk into one coherent, usable operating system. Okay, and we do this through our accelerator approach. So we got iCoRisk, which is our risk management solution, identifying, assessing, mitigating risks with real-time reporting. And we've got iCoPlan, which is our project management solution for managing tasks, resources, timelines, etc. Again, with that real-time reporting. Then we got iCoView, which is our leadership real-time visibility for strategy, performance, and delivery through single data-driven dashboards. Okay, we do have another one, iCoHelp, which we will talk about in a bit more detail as well later in this presentation. But iCoHelp is our AI-powered co-pilot that helps supports teams by automating admin, guiding best practices, and improving governance across the portfolio. Okay. And here's just a few of our clients. A lot of these clients that approached iCoTech services and our partner of iCoTech services we're experiencing probably similar challenges that you're facing today within your organisation. But just to name a few, the likes of Neath Port Talbot Council, Oxfordshire County Council, Staffordshire Council, Transport for Wales, Blaenau Gwent, Intellectual Property Office, to UK Hydrographics Office. And we've just brought on two other local authorities, one which is on the south coast, I won't name any names, and one up in the northwest of England as well. So yes, fantastic. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you very much. So if I just take control, will it allow me to take control? Yes, it will. Brilliant. Technology working well for us. Teams is working. So as part of this, we like to just do a bit of a poll. So just to help me understand the kind of the user groups, the audience on this call today, really what are you using now is useful for me to understand how to pitch the conversation. So it's a couple of questions, 3 questions, which is what PPM systems are you using currently, and what are your biggest challenges you face? And question 3 is what's the main reason you've not implemented a PPM solution? So if you wouldn't mind just filling out that poll, that'd be much appreciated. And then we could see some of the responses and just understand where we are. It helps, as I say, to guide the conversation today. So just wait for some of those to come through. I can see 2 responses have been submitted, which is great. Thank you. If we could all have a go, that'd be great. I just got to view the results, which is a button I keep forgetting where it is. Polls. Here we go. So we are going to view results. So we've got a few people coming into the lobby as well. 4 responses now. Great stuff. So thank you for those who've just joined the session. We're just doing a poll at the moment for those who just joined the session, just to ask a few questions. So if you wouldn't mind, hopefully the poll pops up on your side and you can answer the questions. The first question is what PPM systems are you using currently? The second question is what is the biggest challenges you are facing? And then number 3, what's the main reason you've not implemented a PPM system at the moment? So if you, for those who have just joined the chat, wouldn't mind putting a response to that, that would be much appreciated. Looking at the answers as we currently stand, we've just got 6 answers at the 6 responses at the moment, which is great. Thank you. And if there's a couple more come in, that would be much appreciated. So the answer, the kind of results at the moment are that 38% of you are using Excel and spreadsheets, with 25% of you using a SharePoint-based system, and 13% of you are using nothing at the moment. So it's about 25%, 75% of you are, oh, and that's just changed with a couple of other responses. Thank you for the person who just jumped into the call. Just to let you know, we're doing a quick poll to open up a couple of questions, which you can see on the screen. So if you can see the poll, if you wouldn't mind just submitting a response to that, that'd be much appreciated. So now it's flipped the other way with 7 responses. We've got 40% are using Excel, 30% are using some sort of SharePoint-based solution, and 10% are doing nothing. So only 20% of you are using a full PPM solution. So what are the biggest challenges you are facing currently? There's a couple of responses there. Interestingly, nobody pressed other, which is good. We always like to make sure we account for everybody's situation and requirement. So by far the leading response here is reporting. So it seems like 57% of you are struggling with resourcing. In second position then is the resourcing. So you're struggling with resource management and resourcing activities. And in third position is planning. So you're obviously struggling with planning, but raid management is looking good. Everybody's happy with that, and there's nothing else on that list, which is great. So this is where the other comes in. Okay, interestingly, so the answer to the response to the third question is by far other. There's kind of not really a reason there, but the second position answer on that question is unsure of the solution, which is good, understandable, and third is budget. So with 57% of you saying other, it would be useful if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat kind of what is the other, just so we can help produce the answers and produce the data and the MI later on. If you wouldn't mind just saying kind of what is the, maybe just putting in there a bit of a paragraph or 1 or 2 lines as to why you might not have implemented a PPM solution yet, if it wasn't budget or if it wasn't unsure of the solution. It would be nice just to know, just so we can tailor this in future context. But good to know. The resourcing, the planning are challenges. And good to know that kind of effectively 75% of you, 70% of you are still using Excel, SharePoint, and that at the moment. And obviously some reasons coming through as to why over the next couple of minutes, which is brilliant. So with that said, let's jump in. So as Lloyd said there, iCoTech are fully focused on the public sector, helping the public sector, particularly in local authorities, central government and healthcare. And really our insight, my insight is from across the community of customers. And these are some of the challenges that we are seeing being faced at the moment across the customer base. So the first one is increasing pressure. Obviously, budget is key. There's budget changes going on constantly and under pressure to increase our efficiency. The age-old do more with less is still something that I hear a lot from across the portfolio of customers, and really increased pressure on public service as well. So we've got a number of organisations that are running projects and change activities in children's services, for example, and that's coming under increasing pressure and scrutiny. So the other day, I had a customer of mine that was delivered the iCoPlan solution, but had an audit ongoing at the same time, and just the audit wiped her out. Her and the team were out for weeks, just go and get this data collated to go and do their internal checks and balances before having an audit kind of put on them. So the pressure that she was under was incredible. Another customer has really under pressure in the healthcare space to do more with a decreasing budget, and there's just a lot of component parts that kind of join together to create a pressurizing position for all of public service at the moment, and I think that's the case for every customer that we're working with across the public service. There's more change than ever before. We've got change in government, we've got change in policy, change in the world economic state, we've got change in the challenges we're facing across cyber, across technology, more change than ever before with things like AI. I mean, change is everywhere at the moment, but just feels like there's an increasing amount of change in multiple facets of the organizations that we're working with as well. So, dealing with that change, being able to plan that change, being able to prioritize that change is a big challenge. All right, and then limited resources because of this pressure, because of the change in the world. A lot of the organisations in the public sector we're working with at the moment are struggling to recruit, struggling to retain, and struggling to utilise the resources they've got. Even today, half an hour ago, I was on a call with a customer, and she was moving role to a different role, and that role that she was leaving wasn't being backfilled, and it was just being amalgamated into somebody else's role, and that was literally half an hour ago with a customer in a council up north. So, limited resources to affect change, but obviously these three component parts are all coming together to make it a challenging environment to deliver in the public sector at the moment. And I think project portfolio management is playing a critical role in that, navigating a complex environment and being able to select the right PPM system can be challenging. But having a view on what is needed to be delivered across the organisation is going to be beneficial for anybody in the public sector at the moment. All right. If we dive into PPM at the moment, really what project portfolio management, the pitfalls that we're seeing, and the challenges that our customers are facing when they approach iCoTech services and how we're helping to address these. But if we just look at the problems at the moment, really a common theme that we get is how do we keep track of all activity, not just major projects. It seems that a major transformational program, an ERP implementation or something like that has more often than not has some governance and some tracking around it. But it's the minor change, it's the BAU kind of continuous improvement, it's the technology change, it's the HR projects. Those things is a constant theme I'm seeing across the portfolio customers, and when they approach us, they just do not have the ability to track all elements of change across the organization. How do we keep all the artifacts in one place? So SharePoint, as mentioned earlier, I presume some of you are in this position where you've got a RAID log in Excel, for example, an action log in Excel. Like I came off a call this morning with a central government department who was using Excel for planning, and so it's keeping all these artifacts in one place, in one coherent place, is a common theme, a common challenge we see across our customer base. And a number of examples I can give that have got customers where they've got 55 projects and they've got 55 spreadsheets and 55 plans that go along to that, and it's just really difficult to get the data out of those individual files effectively. All right. And then how do we decide what projects to do next? We talked about the change in landscape, the challenges we've got in public sector, and how do we prioritize what projects should be done next? Even most organizations that approach us at the moment are saying we just don't prioritize. It's almost just a kind of who shouts the loudest type thing, and who's got the biggest sponsorship project would be action. So really prioritization, whether it's based on resourcing, cost, alignment to strategy, risk, it is not something that we're seeing being done at the moment across the public sector for the customers that approach architect services. Obviously, with technology, with process, etc., we can implement that, and we're seeing that being done more so with some of our existing customers that are moving on through the maturity journey with us. How do we keep track on all the tasks? So there's some big things going on in the world of PPM at the moment. So Project Online is going end of life at the end of September. And most people are really au fait with Project Online, a Microsoft project, and to not have that capability now is going to be a challenge for people. So we're seeing that, but also that example I gave earlier, which is a real example of a central government organization managing 10, 15 projects using Excel spreadsheets for each of them. How do we keep track of all those tasks from across the portfolio? And that customer was working, having 3 different levels of reporting that were all done in PowerPoint, and different Excel spreadsheets with different levels of the plans, which is just really difficult and challenging to go and administrate. How do we report on all the data? Because it's all there, the data's there. We all know that data will drive good information, which will drive good insights. So how do we get that data out of these individual spreadsheets? That's consistent, a common theme. I would say 9 out of 10 customers that approach architect services at the start of their journey who are asking us for help are saying, I'm doing reporting in PowerPoint, and I've got a PMO or project support officer, someone of that role doing project reporting. And it's taken them a long time, and they're dipping into different plans and different Excel spreadsheets, etc., to produce a PowerPoint report that then goes on to a portfolio board or a program board or the ministers or the council members, etc., whatever that might be. And then another thing we're seeing a constant theme of is that kind of where are these projects in the life cycle? Really, from a kind of director senior view, it's like, okay, I think I've got all these projects in my portfolio, but I don't really know where they are in the journey. And so that's really the common pitfalls that we're seeing across the world of PPM at the moment. I'd love some comments in the chat if you see any others, if you agree, if you've got something in your community, in your organization that you're struggling with as well, that you think is worth considering putting on that kind of top list of PPM kind of pitfalls, then please do feel free to put some information in the chat. That'd be great. Just looking back on the answers to the other questions as well. So the answer to other, I think, Joanne, you said the solution is needed, but leadership don't want it. Could be budget related, but also we're in the throes of LGR. Yeah, so future is uncertain. Definitely, that is a challenge. Former PPM system has not been implemented in the organisation. Still developing a portfolio management approach. Good. I like that, Louise. SharePoint spreadsheets and PPT currently used as an interim solution to flexibly shape the future requirements. So yeah, that's really good, Louise. I'll touch on that in a second. Well, actually, in the next slide. So, in terms of my recommended approach and how we work here at iCoTech Services and what we help our customers with, we're really looking at the kind of the solution in 3 component parts. And really that's looking at people, technology, and processes. Louise, you've just touched on the process side, which is perfect. I mean, that is one of our famous recommendations, is that we want some sort of process in place before we go live with PPM solution. We'll talk to that in a few minutes time. But for us, we see it being a PPM system, and that system is these 3 component parts working well together to build the system that works for you. And really, what we're looking at first is the people. We're not really looking at technology first or the process first. We're looking at the people. Do you have people that are appropriately trained to deliver projects and to deliver change? Do you have the correct capability within the team? You might have junior project managers. Do they have the right training? Do they have the right capability to be able to deliver the cross-cutting change across your organization? Are the roles and responsibilities defined? Do you have clarity? Have you documented this stuff? And is there a plan in place for everybody in the organization involved in delivering, or a team member or an SRO? Do you have a definition of what the people need to do in order to deliver change? There's so much more than this, obviously, in our framework, in our consultancy procedures, but this is just the snippet of the key points I wanted to raise. Again, a lot of organizations who talk to us at the start of their journey, they're saying that actually they've got pseudo project managers that are in the business that are not trained, and there's no training given to them. And we often start with that as a recommendation. Think about these people, think about what the capability matrix looks like, and we take them through a process of trying to roll out some basic training and awareness, etc. And then actually we start with the process. So we start with the process and what that looks like. And we start with what is is there a single way to find of working? Is there a documented methodology? And have you trained everyone appropriately on these? So Louise, you touched on it there. The process is really the most important thing. Do you have a defined methodology for delivering a project? That's really important. Sorry guys, my dog is scratching at the door behind me and it's distracting me, and I don't really know why he's doing it, so I'm just texting my partner saying come downstairs and fix the dog because he's distracting me. A defined way of working, a methodology, and a process is really important. That's not to say that every change has to go through the same process. You could have different layers of change, different types of change, but you have to define it. You have to understand it, and you have to roll that out in a consistent way. Again, I've seen a lot of organizations that want to build a PPM system, but really haven't invested in that process side, and that's a key point, a key start for 10. All right. Technology. Does your technology align to your process? All right. So then once you've got those processes aligned, does that technology align to it? And does your technology hinder or does it assist you in this piece? All right. And do you have visibility and standardization in place now? So if you've got different versions of a spreadsheet, that'll hinder you. If you've got different types of plans, that'll hinder you. Is somebody doing planning on Planner, somebody doing it on MSP, somebody doing it on a Visio, or Excel. Getting the technology aligned is really important. And for us, is getting those 3 things right. Is vital to creating a good PPM system, and that's important. All right. The other key point, a bit of advice and recommended approach from iCoTech is an iterative approach. Start small, keep it simple, and then iterate on it. Build the 90-day plans of improvement that align to your performance and your objectives, but don't try and bite off more than you can chew. It's a journey to get right. And it needs to be started small and work on individual component parts of that framework as well. So do a little bit of people, a little bit of process, and maybe assess your technology at the same time in that 90-day sprint. That's some of the things that we help our customers with in more detail. So I guess final point on this slide is it's about people first, then it's about process, then it's about technology. If you want a technology solution to work, the process has got to be defined, and the people have got to be appropriately trained and capable of implementing and using that technology. So the next slide is why do PPM solutions fail? So it's kind of linked back to the other slide, but really it's implementing technology before standard process in place. I've seen this firsthand. iCoTech have experienced this with customers that are coming to us that have had failed implementations of solutions. They bought the best singing, all dancing PPM solution, but they had no single defined process and nobody knew how to use it. All right. The next one is a lack of ownership and alignment with strategic objectives. So, what is the PPM solution for? What is it trying to achieve? And how does it align to that strategy? And then overestimating organization maturity. So organizations are thinking that everybody is mature in that delivery for PPM, but actually turns out it's not. And you think you're aligned in the way in which you work, but actually when you come to get into the detail, different departments are doing change in different ways, which is incredibly difficult to move into a technology solution. And then the change management process is really important. So taking people through the change curve, training, adoption, making sure people are appropriately supported through the onboarding of a platform is really important. A lot of people would approach iCoTech and say, look, we've had a system, we tried it 2 years ago, but it didn't really work for various reasons in this space. And that key point is don't go too big too soon. Large scale rollouts rarely work in our opinion, in our experience. And we've got many customers across our portfolio that did attempt to do large rollouts on some heavy systems that didn't quite work. And my last little bugbear is treating governance as optional rather than enforced. So yeah, I guess the concept there is that we have customers that have said, look, we want to deliver this governance, and then when we go live with a system, maybe they're not kind of applying that governance to that standard. So and yes, it's difficult then for it to work. So that's previous experience our customers have had. Yeah. So let's display a little bit of a game, bit of interactive as well. We have a PPM maturity assessment criteria here in iCoTech Services, but for this webinar, I want to take the very highest level of that and just kind of do a very simple subjective kind of assessment for yourselves. So there are 3 categories: people, process, and technology. What I've done is I've used a bit of language to describe each of the levels for low, medium, and high. So what I'd like you to do is just have a look at these levels for people, for process, and technology. And I'd like you to just open it in the chat, just put what you're at, where you think you're at in your organization in terms of PPM maturity. And if you wouldn't mind just putting your response in there in the chat, it'd be great to see where everybody's at. And then we could talk to what the kind of options are and solutions are going forward. So on the left-hand side, we've got people. So, if you've got clear accountabilities at portfolio, program, and project level, strong and trained sponsorship with consistent behaviors and professional capabilities, mapped, defined, etc., then you're probably quite high in a people state, in the people pillar. In terms of medium, if you kind of defined roles of project manager, sponsor, they have been defined, and there's some training in place, but adoption varies. Maybe it's a bit ad hoc. Then maybe you're a level 2 for people. And then for level 1, if it's a bit more sporadic, a bit random, limited training, then you're probably a level 1 in people. And then in process, so you got if you've got a fully defined, a really well-defined PPM methodology, that would be really good. It's like the Bible of how change is delivered. You're kind of high. If you've got a standard life cycle, some standard templates for process, you're a 2. And if you've got like nothing, it's informal, then you're a 1 for process. And then technology, again, if you've got kind of spreadsheets disconnected, no single version of truth, then you're a 1 for technology. If you've got something in place like a central system, but it's core data is captured, but reporting might be difficult, then you're a level 2 for technology. And then it's a full integrated PPM solution, then you are a level 3 for technology. So interestingly, thank you, Michael, for being the first one to put that in there. Joanne, thank you very much. Good stuff. Tom, fantastic. Andrea, too, if you wouldn't mind just if it's kind of people, process, technology in that kind of order, Andrea, that'd be great. And it'd be good to see where you fit. I'd be interested to see, Andrea, if your organization you feel is a 2-2-1, as Tom, Joanne, and Michael are. And Louise, I can see you writing in the background there as well. So look forward to your responses as well. Just give it a couple of minutes for Andrea and Louise to put their answers in. Oh, Jade, 2-2-1 as well. Thank you. This is 2-2-1. Cool. The theme here, isn't it? Andrea, are you a 221 as well? Oh, cool. I like it. Brilliant. 221.5. Cool. Well, I've been doing 222. Oh, lovely. Andrew, great. Well done. Thank you for that, Andrew. Really appreciate that, guys. Really appreciate that. I think that is the trend that we are seeing from across these customer bases. So we do a number of webinars we have been doing over the last few months now about different topics, but this slide has been presented at a number of those. And I can tell you that the by far, when we analyze all the data, which we will do in a couple of months' time, and we'll produce a mini report for it, it is 221 is the most common answer back. People have some sort of defined process, some sort of defined process and templates in place, some sort of governance. They have defined roles, responsibilities, and they have maybe disconnected spreadsheets. So 221 is definitely where most of the response is back, and I'd say that's probably, just to give you a size and scale on that data set, it's got about 30, 40, 50 responses somewhere in there have come back to this exact slide, and most of them, 90% of them, are 221. So I think that's interesting to note and interesting for you to walk away with, that your positions, Tom, Andrea, Jade, Louise, are kind of consistent. Michael as well, consistent with your peers, I guess, other organizations in public sector. And Andrew, you're smashing it. So well done on that. And I've yet to see anybody that's kind of gone 3-3-3 or any threes really. But the point I want to make here is that if you're looking at technology, if you've come into today's call thinking I need a new PPM system, we would only recommend a system if you are a 221. Really, that's the right place to go and implement technology to the next level. If you were a 112, or maybe, I don't doubt you could be, but if you're a 111, then we would say go and invest in some process mapping with the guys here. Go and do some kind of training and standardization. Get yourself up to that level 2 for people process, and then we'll bring level 2 up for technology at the right time. And realistically, I think it's fair to say that across our whole customer base, no one's really at level 3 for everything yet. The idea of the maturity model is that really that the level 3 for everything in our model, which is obviously a lot more detailed than this one side, is really is the cost versus ROI at that point. But just getting to level 222 it is really the next step for most of our customers, and what we suggest for you guys here on the call. So I hope you found that useful. Bit of trying to gamify it a little bit and trying to make it a bit fun and interactive. But yeah, thank you for that. So technology factors, I think what I'm trying to say here is basically when you're looking at that technology, if we dive into the technology element now, really you've got to start with your current needs, not your future needs. So the guys that are kind of ready for technology to be implemented at the right time, start with your current needs, what you need now, not necessarily what you might need in 3 years' time. Because you want to match the solution to your organization maturity. You don't want to bite off more than you could chew, or boil the ocean, as Lloyd always says. And you need to make sure that it's the right solution. It's going to add value, going to buy adoption, and going to get people loving the system after day one. It's going to work. If you buy the best PPM solution and it's not quite there into its maturity, you'll have a mismatch and it won't work, as I talked about at the start of the call. Prioritize usability and adoption over the features. It's great that technology solutions have features. Brilliant. But if you don't know how to do resourcing in your organization, no point having a resource feature. If you don't do critical path analysis or detailed planning schedules, then CPA is not really a feature that you might use. So just be mindful of that. What is the features you want now? What are your requirements now? And try and find a solution that meets that could support you in the future. Ensure strong alignment with your current governance. So depending on the types of governance models you've got, whether it's Agile, Waterfall, Wagile, GDS standards, whatever it might be, try to pick something that kind of aligns to that broadly and is applicable to yourselves. And then evaluate technical fit and interoperability as well. I mean, if Copilot's on your radar, Microsoft Power Platform should be on your radar too. And therefore, buying a custom built SQL database PPM solution might not be the best thing in a technology fit in terms of that landscape. So, that's our recommendation anyway to consider. All right, and then understand the true costs beyond licensing. So, what's the total lifetime cost of this thing, and how do we get access to everybody in the organization? All right, so that's kind of some consideration factors. But alongside these, it's really, do you want a flexible, iterative solution, or do you want a fixed enterprise approach? Consider that. What is the implementation approach that works for you? Is it an agile approach, or is it a kind of big bang, big programmatic approach, depending on the size of your portfolio, for example? And then, whenever you select a partner, you should have deep sector experience and a deep kind of referenceability in this space. But I often say to customers, people will challenge me sometimes to say that, a project's a project, it's the same thing. But actually, in my experience, in defence and with iCoTech, delivering a nuclear decommissioning program is distinctly different to delivering a new IT system and software upgrade. So, depending on where you are and what you're doing, there might be systems that match what you're trying to deliver in your portfolio. Is my overarching point there. All right. Cool. Well, I just wanted to talk about Nice Port Talbot quickly, and then we'll kind of. We've got a few more slides and end it there. So at the start of the journey with Nice Port Talbot, which we're really proud about, we had a gentleman called Alan, who was the head of digital projects, and Chris Owen was the chief digital officer at the time. Alan and another gentleman joined our event in Prince Valley Stadium, and they had this challenge. So they had about 400 odd projects being tracked across spreadsheets and disconnected systems across the organization, I think that was at the time. There was challenges around ownership, delivery timescales, and capacity planning. And reporting was manual. Doing reporting up to board and executive level was manual as well. And there was a bit of inconsistency and multiple reports being used, and people not really being able to know what report to take as face value, and that reporting cycle taking a bit longer than they would like. So we went through our process. We did a discovery day. We had a great day on site with them. Me and Lloyd went down to site. And we kind of recognized that there were kind of foundations in place. There was a broad process there. There was a broad standard that Alan and the team were working towards. And we kind of recognized through our discovery process that iCoPlan was the right fit for them at the right time. And we suggested that, and was thankful that they took us on that journey, and we ended up delivering iCoPlan. But really, what we wanted to do was to get the reporting right and to make reporting better, because it was cumbersome. It took some individuals a long time to do. All right, but then once we delivered iCoPlan, a few months later, we moved into our optimization service, and we asked Alan for a quote. And this is the quote that Alan kind of gave us to use in these type of forums and with our case study as well. So really proud of the relationship we've got with Nice Port Talbot. They have actually gone on to implement iCoPlan, iCoRisk, and iCoView. And we're really proud and happy that they're kind of using the platform to its capability. And yeah, from Alan's perspective, reporting time was reduced by 93%. They had full visibility across the project portfolio, clear prioritization, and great confidence in the accuracy of data. So that was after a 12-week wave of work from iCoTech's perspective. So I just wanted to share that story, and we're just really proud of the work we've done with them, and I'll continue to do with them. There's obviously lots of other case studies in that space as well that we can talk to. So it is boiling hot. I promise I'm almost done. I hope you guys are okay and keeping hydrated. But what is iCoPlan? So iCoPlan, I referenced it earlier. It is a project portfolio management solution, and it is based in the Microsoft Power Platform. And it really is an accelerator that allows you to do most of the basic things with Microsoft Project and Planner. And it does kind of RAID logs, keeping everything in one place, those business automation flows, state reports, financial budget tracking, milestone tracking, the galore. Project, program, portfolio management, the whole 9 yards, they say. But it is an accelerator, so it's meant to start off pretty basic, and then we develop it from there. I'm not here to kind of pitch you iCoPlan. If you want to know more and you think it's something that you might be interested in and something might help you, then please do reach out to us, to Lloyd and the team, and we'll happily show you iCoPlan in more detail. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is iCoHelp, and iCoHelp is our Copilot agent that is powered and plugged into iCoPlan. So if you're on a mission to utilize Copilot, then you definitely need to go and see what iCoHelp can do for you. But really, it's that kind of PPM, PMO guide, and it helps you to use natural language to understand where you are in the life cycle, what your next step should be. It allows you to automate the production and summarization of RAID logs, etc., that are all stored in iCoPlan. And some really powerful use cases that we're starting to see with our customers now. Getting iCoPlan in place, getting iCoHelp bolted into the side, really will open up your potentials and opportunities with Copilot and in the PMO space. So that's it. And the key point as well is iCoHelp works with iCoRisk, iCoView, and iCoPlan. But again, just wanted one page on each of those solutions, just so you guys are aware of them. Are there any questions? Happy to take any questions off on if you want to come off mute, or we come to you and turn you off mute if you want to raise your hand, or if you want to put a question in the chat. More than happy to do that. But I'm going to come back to whilst you guys are putting your questions in there. Louise, you referenced that a formal PPM system has not been implemented as the organisation is still developing a project portfolio management approach. So yeah, hopefully you can see from my slides and my content today that is the right thing to do. Go and get that approach right. If you want any help with that, let us know. And use SharePoint spreadsheets for a while. I guess Louise, there's a balance between going too far with the people process piece, and then almost having to really engineer a technology solution to meet with that. There's a bit of a balance there, so it's about getting it to the right definition. What other local authorities do you work with a lot? Southampton, Staffordshire, Stoke. Yeah, there's a lot. Louise, you can reach out to Lloyd and we can talk to you through some other examples, etc., and other case studies if you wanted to know more. Yeah, Lloyd, were you going to say something then? You look like you're going to come off me.
I was just going to say that Louise has got a question for you, mate. That's all.
Cool, lovely, gentlemen. Yeah, so thanks, Louise, for your questions. Has anybody got any questions? Any other questions at all? Just if you're interested, we have 2 other webinars similar to this, talking about corporate risk, and that's on the 9th of July. And then we have another webinar talking about strategic planning and county corporate plans in the local authority space, looking at kind of how we help organisations to get better at corporate planning. That's on the 22nd of July. What frameworks are we on success? G-Cloud framework, Louise, all the way. It's our favourite thing to do is to do a G-Cloud document. Challenge. But no, it's all good. Louise, we're on G-Cloud. That's the one of the CCS frameworks we're on. So yeah, really hopefully you found some use for today and just gave you some insights of where you're at the moment in your PPM system implementation journey. If you would like to know more, we would love to talk to you more about iCoPlan and our consultant services and how we've helped other organizations in the public sector get better at delivering PPM systems. But thank you very much. Lloyd, can I hand it back to you so I can...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, thank you very much for joining today's session. We hope you have found it useful. We will have recordings, etc., available for you and a slide presentation if required. I will be reaching out to you all for just some feedback. And again, if you do want to book in some time with myself just to have a little bit more an in-depth conversation, then please feel free just to reach out to me directly. But again, enjoy the rest of this glorious sunshine. I think it's going to be raining next week. But thank you very much and catch you all soon.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye now.